Living Leesburg. I'm Tamara, and I'm the president of our Leadership Council. Our theme for this year is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our focus for this month is Stepping into the Unknown. The title of our talk today is The Winds of Change, and it will be given by our spiritual director, Charlene Banks. Please join me as we open our sacred space. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like to have included later on in our service when we practice our form of community of affirmative prayer known as spiritual mind treatment. And now we'll move into our time of meditation with Charlene Banks.
Thank you, Tamara. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lobby bell so that we can all just settle into that space, that divine space. So, if you can, if you are able, just take a moment, place your feet solidly upon the floor, and just, if you're able, close your eyes and just allow your inner sight, your inner ear to see and listen. Now take a deep breath and exhale. Another deep cleansing breath. And exhale. The breath of life. Many times we don't pay attention to it. It's in the background of our everyday activity. But when we become still, we look within, we calm our minds, attention to the breath. So that we can become present. Present. Right here, right now. But there's nowhere else we need to be. This is our divine appointment. We sit with each other in community, dedicated to the unfoldment of our soul. Attention to the breath as we breathe in and out. Mind wanders, just come back to the breath. Release any tension in your neck, your head, your mouth, your jaw, shoulders. And breathe. Back to the breath. Allow the breath to breathe you. It is with this breath of life that we often take for granted that we are able to bring ourselves back to this present moment, right here and right now. Not worried about the future or fretting about the past. Simply present and aware, because this is where the power resides, in the present moment. And so with this knowledge and power of ours that we are one with the divine that is breathing itself through us and as our very lives, we wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes to bring ourselves back into the room, opening our eyes gently with a softened gaze, looking around us anew at the beautiful life that we have been given. And with gratitude, I say thank you, God, and so it is. And now, speaking of gratitude, we are blessed to have Leah with us live. So Leah will share with us her beautiful music.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very, very pleased to be able to be with you as close to in person as we can get for now. And I would like to invite you to sing this song. Feel free to substitute words C, B, any words that feel true and present for you. Hear the wind of change. Feel the wind of change. Hear the wind of change. Feel the wind of change. Hear the wind of change. Feel the wind of change. Feel the wind of change. Feel the wind of change. You can feel the wind of change. You can feel the wind of change. I can feel the wind of change. And I can be the wind of change.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Leah. That was just so right on time. Feel the wind of change. The title for this message today is The Winds of Change. And, this whole month, what we've been talking about, this is the second week, we're talking about stepping into the unknown. And when we step into the unknown, it's kind of scary, right? And so we talked about last week, we had a path that we walked through, and we did a bit of a labyrinth walk where we the idea of walking the path is that we are all on this path called life, right? So last week we used the labyrinth and the way that it meanders and turns and twists around, that's our path through life. The center of the labyrinth represents our center, or the spiritual truth about ourselves. And so even though the path that we're on might have twists and turns, it all leads back to the one, to the center, to where God resides as us in the midst of our very being. And so I love that all last week, I don't know about you, all last week, I was bombarded with other ways in which I get the confirmation that this path that we're on, and the way that we're framing it, the community that we're building, is right on time. One of the things that came to me through some of my study, I'm reading a book called the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And in that book, because it's part of my studies of the Gnostic Gospels, which of course I want to share everything, but I can't do it all in a half an hour. One of the things that they talked about was that the true translation of blessed was walk forward. Walk forward. Instead of blessed are they that, all the Beatitudes, you know the ones? Blessed are they that are humble, because the meek shall inherit the earth. The interpretation, instead of blessed, because we kind of got that wrong, was walk forward in this, because knowing who you are and why you're here, this is your blessing, and you shall inherit the earth. That's the kind of thing. Every one of the Beatitudes is rewritten in more fleshed out text to where it's walk forward, walk forth, walk. And I was like, oh my God, that's the labyrinth we're walking on. So it just keeps coming. And anytime, I don't know about you, but anytime we study something that our inner self has guided us to do, maybe this is why we were born to be here, you'll know it, because there's a lot of confirmations pinging all over the universe. Here's another one. I'm studying another thing, which is, it's some Yoruba information. It's the Yoruba Ifa, which is the religion of the Yoruba, and the African diaspora, right? Of course, a lot of us came from Africa against our will. We won't go into the details, but we all know. And what came with us, what came in our bodies, was our traditions from our African ancestors. And Ifa is the name of one of the traditions. And here they have it. Illness is considered to be the result of a lack of attunement with personal destiny. You see, we're all born, according to Ifa and plenty of other religions, that we're all born to fulfill our personal destiny. And the further we get off of our path, the further away, well, the more out of tune our body becomes with its divine pattern, with its divine blueprint, right? So if I'm denying my calling and saying, no, I don't want to do it, I'm going to stay here and not change, then what happens is I'll become a little sick. Now, anyone who is not in alignment with their personal destiny runs the risk of attracting negative influences. Oh, that's interesting. Say more about that. Inner balance is what we strive for. However, once we arrive at it, it's never a static reality. The inner balance that occurs in the womb is disrupted by birth. Think about that. Now let's go into that for a second. I know I've been pregnant. Many of you have been pregnant. And, can you hold that baby back? If that baby's coming, what does that baby do? It's coming. Now, from the baby's point of view, that was probably pretty cool. They were probably having all their needs met and they're chilling, and all of a sudden things are changing. Now, what if the baby decided, I'm not coming, I'm going to hold on? Well, that's called a cesarean. They're going to get you out of there because it's not good. Once the winds of change are coming, you got to change. So there it goes on. The inner balance that can occur during childhood is disrupted by puberty. Seriously, you remember puberty? Yeah, it's not pretty. It's kind of chaotic. It's a big mess until it all comes back together again, and then, whoo, look at that beautiful young adult, right? Puberty, kind of messy, winds of change. The inner balance that can occur as an adult is disrupted by old age. Now, y'all have known me for a while, and this girl has a fan nearby. Why? Well, winds of change. I'll say no more. But I need a little wind sometimes when I'm going through the change. Okay, see what I did there. All right, so each of these cycles of growth is celebrated so in some traditions. So there are winds of change. They happen. And lots of us have studied these winds of change. We don't have to walk around and be confused and confounded by them. We can learn and we can then do. So, in fact, there's a story. And I want to talk to you about this lake. And then in doing so, I'm going to demonstrate for you the process of how we go through our lives. Now, I'm going to tell you this quick little thing. on Lake Leman, Léman, in Geneva. Well, it's a lake that France and Switzerland share. It's cut right down the middle of the border. It's between the Alps and the Jura Mountains. There are more than 70 different winds because of the shape of the lake. On the days when there is very little wind, sailors will scan the becalmed lake looking for any ripples on the water, right? And then when they find a ripple on the water, the skipper says, go that way. They change direction. They head towards the disturbances. Why? They need to find the wind that's blowing there. Why do they need to find the wind? Because that's what fills up the sails and then makes the boat receive the power that will propel that vessel forward toward its destination. Now, there's some skill involved. You can't just put up the sail and hope. The skipper knows exactly how to set that jib, how to set that sail so it captures the wind just right and it goes shooting off in the right direction. There's some skill involved. But notice the key here. Identify where the winds are blowing, head toward them, set up the sails, and then woohoo, look at us go. So if those who are most successful in locating the disturbances in the water, well, they can get to their destination faster. If there's a race involved, well, they're probably going to win the race. Why? Because they've embraced and harnessed the changing winds. So that's just a story, and it's a wonderful story. It's a great analogy of how we can use the disturbances in our life, the chaos in our life, to put up our sails, allow it to fill up our sails, and change direction. But some of us, I know I am guilty of this. I want to know more about these winds. Tell me about what now? So that is an analogy for life. If I know I'm going to go through some different changes, I want to know more about the changes. Who says there's 70 different winds? How are they? Is there an app so I could see what the winds are? Because you know how I am. All right. So let me show you something. I did a little research. And yeah, there we go. I think you guys can see this. So this I found on the web. The winds of change. Well, there's Lake Léman between Switzerland and France. All of the different winds have been mapped. They've been named. They've been given colors, a direction, a force, and there's even a schedule for what times of year are going to have which kinds of winds. See, now to me, that's really comforting because I'm an information person. I need more information. I'm not going to just trust you. You told me there's a lake. Okay, where's the lake? What kind of winds? How do we know? Is that true? Are you lying to me? Well, that's how I approach this teaching. You can tell me that there's one God. And you can tell me that I can change my thinking and immediately change my experience in this life that is my life. And that through gratitude, these are the sails that I can put up. Gratitude, contemplation, intuition, visualization, visioning, I can take the change that's going on in me and use it for good and propel me in the right direction. To me, these teachings and these practices and these classes are all similar to this map right here. Because lots of religions already have outlined, I've already given you a couple of examples, outlined what kinds of changes occur, when they're likely to occur, what it's likely to feel like, and how we can use these things to help propel us to our destination. And yes, our map doesn't look quite like this. It looks a little different. Our app that we have doesn't look like a lake because it looks like the body, right? And it helps us. We do things, we practice in order to harness the knowledge that has been gained by all of the ancestors that came before us. We're not in this world by ourselves. We've got wisdom coming from 15 different or 70 different directions to help us put wind in our sails and get it going. So some of the quotes that you'll find, I'll go ahead and leave my slides up and talk to you about the ancient wisdom that is supporting us in our daily lives. We don't have to go this alone. One of them, This is the greatest discovery of all time. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. That's from our Science of Mind textbook, page 31. And the idea about no occult performances, what that means is not that, it doesn't mean I can't throw cowrie shells or I can't do whatever I want to help me get a handle on what I must be feeling right now. That's fine to use these as tools. But when we turn over all of our self-efficacy to a fortune teller and give them money so that they can just do it, well, that's not cool. That's not what this is about. You can use lots of tools from many traditions to support your spiritual journey, but we never rely only on external things, because the path is an internal path. In fact, Ernest Holmes said, instead of being confused by the situations around us, we should be calm, tranquil, and confident that through reforming our word, we can easily change the existing conditions as perpetuate them. So let's carefully look at that one. Reforming our word. Now, a lot of times when we first take our first class at science, at these teachings, CSL, Center for Spiritual Living, we find out that our circumstances came about by our thoughts. Our thoughts informed our words informed our deeds informed our habits, and our habits inform our destiny. So if we can unravel that, if we don't like where we're going, we can change it. So how do we change it? We reform our words. So instead of talking a lot about the things we don't like or don't want or don't appreciate, we change our attention to those things that we do like, that we do want, and that we do appreciate. In fact, the word appreciate is interesting because it means to grow, right? So our energy, when we put our energy and our thought on something, that something tends to grow. It appreciates, like interest. It appreciates that which we put into it. In fact, so we want to use gratitude. Every time something comes to us, some wind of change comes to hit us, we're like, okay, this I expected because life, right? How can I use this thing, this upset, this chaos, this disturbance? How can I use my sails? What can I put up? Gratitude. Gratitude, even in the moment. So the real trick is when it's happening to you. While it's happening to you, can you say, oh, thank you, life, because something really great is coming from this. Typically, it takes a little distance from the actual act that we feel so horrible about, but the real trick is to get into gratitude in that moment, knowing that something great is happening. I just don't know what it is right now, as this person slams into the back of my car. Happened to me probably 10 years ago. I'm sitting at a stoplight, minding my business. Bam! I was like, oh my goodness. It wasn't so hard that my airbag came up, but it was quite upsetting. So I get out and she gets out and the baby had projectile vomited in the back seat. And so she's reaching back. Her car starts creeping forward. So she jams the brake, but oops, that's not the brake. That's the gas. So she banged into the back of my car. And I was like, I was like, well, guess we're supposed to meet today. And she was like, what? You're not mad at me? I'm like, oh yeah, I could be mad, or I could figure out why we're supposed to meet each other today. Because clearly, hi, I'm Charlene. And it was funny and relieving for her because the poor baby, I'm like, take care of the baby. This is just a car. And so it wasn't one of my Teslas. So I probably would have been a little different. No, I hope that I would still be very, very, very into the moment and not into the vehicle, because again, it's just a car. Now, the idea though, we can change the existing condition as easily as we can perpetuate them. If I could keep going down that negative road, or I could change. So the other thing, keeping a goal in mind. Again, we're on this labyrinth journey. And what's our goal? To get deeper within to our center of who we really are. We refuse to be baffled or defeated with every little turn. With uplifted thought and calm but definite purpose, we cannot fail. Every little twist and turn in the way and on the way is just on the way. It's okay. We're on our way to our center. So I'll stop sharing for a moment. And what we have here then is upsets that bring disorder to our lives. We have situations where sometimes the normal calm that we're used to, the way we thought our day was supposed to go, it's not going to go that way. Two choices. We're at that path, right? We're at that fork in the road. Do we lament the way things were and try to hold on to that? Or do we lean into the change and get centered, get grounded, and ask the questions and stay in gratitude? You have choices. So I have a letter that a mother sent to her kids, and you tell me which choice the lady took, okay? Dear kids, I enjoyed seeing you so much recently. It made me realize how much I miss you. But don't get lonely because I have some men friends that are keeping me company. I wake up with Charlie Horse, exercise with Will Power, spend my days with arthritis, and go to bed with Ben Gay. Things are not the same. Everything is farther away now than it used to be. It's twice as far to the corner, and they've added a hill, I noticed. I've given up running for the bus because it now drives much faster than it used to. It seems, too, that they are making stairs steeper than in the old days. And have you noticed the smaller print they use in the newspaper now? There's no sense in asking anyone to read it out loud. Everybody speaks in such low voices. I can hardly hear them. Even people are changing. They are so much younger than they used to be when I was their age. On the other hand, people my own age, they are so much older than I am. I ran into an old friend the other day, and she had aged so much, she didn't even recognize me. I'm writing this letter as I sit in front of my dressing table, and I just glanced at my reflection, and confound it, they don't even make mirrors like they used to. Love, Mom. Somebody didn't embrace change. So, what are we learning here? Change is coming. And if it's not already in the midst of your life right now, then maybe you're in one of the moments of calm, and that's fine. If you'd like change, then you can actively look for the disturbance in the water and move toward it, which means maybe something makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. In the news right now, we've got a lot of racism going on, and not just against African Americans. Turns out Asians are now at the brunt of a lot of this racism. In fact, I was in the store the other day and I saw a little Asian lady, and I'm like, God bless you. I just looked at her and kind of with nice eyes because you can't see me smile because I have a mask on. But God bless her, because yikes. What's going on? People are just attacking them for no good reason, or for a reason of fear that's in their tiny little brains. God bless them. So those who are resistant to change will fight like you know what to try to get the old way to be the current way. And it causes trouble for everyone. It causes division, it causes hurt, pain, and suffering, and death to those who are targeted as the reason for, why we can't stay the same, the reason for the thing that's making me uncomfortable. It's all on you, and so I must attack you. And we want to make sure we never, ever fall into that. If change is coming, if something you see makes you a little uncomfortable, well, find out more. Be curious and grateful for it, because that might mean Maybe something's trying to change in me. Maybe I need to do something. We have lots of evidence that social justice doesn't always look the same. And there could be something that we can do individually and as a group to enact justice, to move things, to raise ourselves and move toward the goal of unity and oneness, because we are all one. We're not separate. It's not us and them. It's just so, it could be very frustrating. And that frustration, we can use it to propel us toward right action, whatever that looks like. Because I'm not here to tell you what it looks like. That is your job. We go within and we ask the questions, we stay in gratitude, and we allow our lives to be changed, because that is the nature of the world, change. Now, there's no simple way, right, to respond to things. There's no simple, it's not easy, but it's required. We reflect on what's good. If we want to not be the woman who insists that everything else is changed, but she's fine, if we don't want to be her, then we must reflect on what was good and embrace what was good and let it sort of stay in us as we build on it, because evolution is always including that which came before it and expanding on that which came before it. So we welcome these moments. We just welcome them. And so I would like to end my talk with, a small prayer, but really I want to end, after my small prayer, I'm going to show you a video about the welcoming prayer. Because what we want to do is get into a spirit of welcoming change, to open up our hearts and to really just kind of prime the pump for change and for highest good. So if we just close our eyes for a moment and just bless this very moment, where we get to remind ourselves why we're really here. We have been placed on this divine earth for our divine purpose. We are not separate from the one. We are part of the one, the unified field. This is also known as the great ground of beingness, from which we all came forth from. In quantum physics, the great ground of being, the realm of all possibilities. That's where we all live and come from. And we aren't separate from each other. We're one with that divine oneness, with that divine field. And so I speak my word right now that we all awaken even more to our oneness, not buying into any idea of separation, any idea of otherness, but instead embracing our oneness, embracing the idea that we came here to evolve, and evolution involves change, and that as we grow and we change, we embrace all that is trying to happen through us. And we move this vessel called our beings, we move with the wind of change toward our destination by welcoming whatever is coming up. I give thanks that this is so, and so it is. And I'll share my video. Beautiful. Okay, and now we have our beautiful Leah who will be presenting.
So this song will be familiar to you. And the first verse will be exactly as Bob Dylan wrote it, and the second verse will be something a little bit different. So feel free to sing. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? And how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? And how many times must a cannonball fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times will we wait in doubt and let it keep us ashore? How many times will fear keep us out, keep us from knocking on the door? But are you ready now to stand up and shout? True life is what we're here for. The answer, my friends, is still blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. It's in the wind.
Woohoo! Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. So good to have Leah in person. Yay. Well, thanks for coming, Leah. We'll see you next
It's
time.
good to see you all.
Yes. You're amazing. Can't wait. Let's keep this up, huh?
Oh my gosh, if you don't feel the winds of change blowing behind your back, you haven't been paying attention. That was such an amazing service today. Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you, Leah. Woo! Well, it's now time for us to bless the donations that are shared today. At CSL Leesburg, we are a tithing community. We believe in the law of circulation. The donations that are shared with our center blesses everyone, those who give and those who receive. Your donation helps our center, our CSL home organization, as well as organizations that inspire us to help to further our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. Please look at our screen. There are so many ways that you can give. It's easy to find the way that works best for you. You can also go to our website, cslleesburg.org, and hit the donate button. We thank you so much for your support. No matter how you are giving today, take that gift physically or mentally and just place it over your heart and join us in our affirmation of oneness. The presence of Spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. And if you liked what you had today, come on back and join us this week on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock. You can join Charlene and friends, and they share their dreams. There is a dream study session on Tuesday mornings. And on Wednesday evenings, we have our prayer circle and our visioning. Join us on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. We would love to have you. These offerings are just a few of the ways that we take what we receive and we give locally. Also, please feel free to join us after our service as we share our pearls, those little nuggets of the service that spoke to our hearts and minds. And if you're a visitor, please stay and introduce yourself. We'd love to have the opportunity to officially welcome you to CSL Leesburg. As we end this sacred time together, let us once again place our hands over our hearts and say, I am loved. Now point to someone near you or to the people on the screen and say, you are loved. And put your hands up in the air. These are what we call love sprinkles. It's all love. Oh my gosh, I've been so blessed by the service today. We hope that you were too. Stay and join us for pearls, and happy Sunday. Thank you.